What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 18 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Thorgrim Grudgebearer Old World campaign. So as we saw last time, a few fantastic battles with, I think the highlight being the fall of Magorkan, the undead settlement wherein Gotrek and Felix took the walls and killed off, what was it, 3 vampires including a lord as well as a necromancer and a banshee. It was pretty good to see them actually star a little bit of spotlight on them, I guess, considering how famous characters they are, and though they've been, in the game, it's rare, I think, to see them actually do all that much work, being small single entities, compared to other units. Anyway, in terms of what we got to do this turn, we actually only partially completed the turn last episode. We still have Bellagar's debut battle to do as he starts making his way through the Badlands and reclaiming Berkvar and hopefully Ekron as well, so he's going to start, and then I believe we have a Malachi battle as well, plus when we end the turn we're besieging like 3 different territories, so we're likely to get, enemies sallying out and attacking us, so I gotta get ready for that. Anyway, I promised the Bellagar, and I guess we'll start with Bellagar. Where are you, sir? Wait, actually, just to double check, I did not give you blue items, did I? Okay, do we have a spare Talisman of Preservation for you? Yes, we do. Alright, in fact, we have 2. I think this second one is for another legendary lord, but I don't remember which one. The enchanted item is... wait a moment. Yeah, Rune of Courage. I want to just double check whether we have any... you know what? You know who should have a Ranger's Standard? I feel like you should have a Ranger's Standard. Granted, it's not as great as a Banner of Swiftness, but I think it'll still serve. We do have a Banner of Swiftness available, mind you. I've been basically giving it to every lord. Although it's not going to speed up Bellagar significantly, to be fair. Wait. I just thought, I still feel like he should get the Ranger Standard. You know what, we'll start with the Ranger Standard. It just bothers me that he wouldn't have it, considering he has a ton of Rangers in his army, you know? You know. I know. Anyway, let's, ooh. They're allied with the Yellow Eye and the Howlers. Interesting. I wonder, will all of them then declare war on us? Oh, where are the Howlers? Oh, okay, so they're kind of in the midst of the... They're in the midst of the Imperial territory here. I take it they're not super strong. It's a little bit concerning that they'll declare war on us, though, because these territories aren't well defended, really, especially Valea's Sorrow. Well, it is what it is. We'll just have to try to deal with it if enemies come down there, and maybe even build another sort of temporary army, or sort of a rearguard army to be able to hold. Anyway, you're going for whatever this place is called, declare war. Don't bother calling your allies to help. I think we've already seen one of our allies saying no, and then, get out of this, and the AI kind of is untrustworthy, and I'd really like to keep the units we currently have. So, yeah, let's just do it like this. And they'll all join. Okay, well, we just got 3 new Orky enemies in the Badlands, hardly surprising. And we'll see how that goes for us. Anyway, Ironbreakers are going to get the Razor Standard, though once again I might replace the Ironbreakers in this particular army with an Everguard unit, though on the other hand they do work well with the Miners. And I do want to dedicate an army to, like, Ironbreakers and Miners and then Outriders with grenade launchers. Just nothing but just stupid amounts of explosions. And maybe some Dwarf Engineers as well. Alright, we got Rune of Seeking, Rune of Penetration, and Rune of Burning. 1 for each of the Bolt Throwers. There we go. Not as many Bolt Throwers as Grimly. And admittedly, I might give Grimly a couple more just to, separate him from other lords. But this is our debut for Bugman's Rangers and regular Rangers. And I guess Bellagar and his Ghost Pals himself. We're going to quick save this because game is unstable, and then we'll go.
Vengeance calls.
Alrighty, here we go, Bellagar and the Ghost Pals on field at last with our first regiments of Bugman's Rangers, which always look pretty good in those Clan Angren blue and red mix colors of theirs. And of course, Bellagar himself to lead them and the huge pile of miners. I haven't decided whether we're going to want to keep the miners here. I like the fact that they are buffed by his army. I don't like the fact that they don't match his color scheme, where the Bugman's Rangers pretty much entirely do, which would essentially give us an army that has a completely unique color scheme compared to the other armies. So certainly something to think about, which I will to some degree. Anyway, we got a kind of a weird battle ahead of us, as it seems for once the enemy has actually concentrated their defenses around their citadel, around their final key building, rather than at the start of the settlement, which is not something I see a lot. Usually, if the AI wants to do this, it starts sort of close to the edge of the map and then it backs off, as it is too afraid of our range firepower or something like that, and sort of slowly backs off rather than immediately starting. But not a big deal, and we'll just pump those dwarfen legs and move towards them, and Bellagar included. He's got to do something. He had to leave Thorgrim to capture 8 peaks, so yeah. Anyway, we start off with the enemy Goblin Rock Lobber, which was unprotected. Did do a little bit of damage to one of our units here, the Rangers, but that's alright. Rangers are in the process of knocking down a barricade, and we'll help them out real quick with those bolt throwers, while the rest of our army moves in to try to find some enemies. Boar boys are approaching, possibly. I suppose this also gives us an opportunity to allow Bellagar to actually fight a little bit, rather than just having his army do all the work. Is he actually using his ghost ancestor as a shield here? I mean, I guess depending if arrows and stuff pass through the ghostly ancestors, this may or may not be effective. If the Ghost Ancestor is able to block shots, then a little bit different. Anyway, while Bellagar moves on ahead, it looks like some Boar Boys have moved in and, in fact, charged some of our Bugman's Rangers. Fortunately, unlike the regular Rangers, these guys are pretty darn solid in melee. I mean, the regular Rangers are also hybrid units and decent in melee as well, but obviously the Bugmans are better. And of course we have a pile of miners here as well to help out should we need to check a few blasting charges the enemy's way, and we may very well need to, as Orc Boys are moving in to help out the Boar Boys. And a fair few of them at that, but that's alright. I guess we'll have a little bit of a melee fight here as well, not just a range one. In the midst of all this, Bellagar and one of his Thanes and its Half Stonebeard are surrounded by enemies, and we're just going to let them fight a little bit just because we can. We do have a unit of miners out here which could easily chuck a pile of blasting charges on top of all of these units. But sort of like Gotrek and Felix, I do want to take the opportunity to allow Bellagar and his melee ghosts to do a little bit of work, especially since his army is mostly range, and thus in the future enemy armies that deal with his army will mostly be killed off at range. Not entirely, depending on how exactly we form the army up, especially with miners rather than even more rangers, but we'll see. Anyway, Boar Boys and Orc Boys not having a particularly good time, pinned between the miners and the Bugmans, who, after all that fighting, barely got damaged at all. And of course they do have regeneration due to that liquid fortification ability that they have. And it's not when in melee, it's just permanent, so if we sufficiently buff their armor and their defensive capabilities, and their lack of HP won't be a significant sort of detraction from them fighting in melee, just due to that regenerative aspect that they've got. So it is another another excuse, another good reason for them to have a Cathayan war drum, though funnily enough I checked, and specifically the western provinces, we have the tier 2 outpost now I believe, and they can't build war drums. It's the one thing I really wanted from Cathayan units, and don't get me wrong, we can certainly potentially use Nangao Grenadiers or possibly, I really liked the Sky Lanterns and their effectiveness in the Cathay campaign, so Sky Lanterns, including using them to buff range units. Pretty much any of the, well, non-Iron Hail Gunner variants of guns that they've got as well, mainly the Dragon Breakers, yes. Actually, And I gotta remember that. The Dragon Breakers are also another really good option. I hadn't considered them But with that dragon tear gas that they have, that doesn't really damage our own units, but it causes extreme slowdown in enemy units, so that would possibly work quite well in that slowdown army that I was planning. Granted, with only 4 allied units available, we'd have to choose between them and the Outriders with handguns, but still... certainly something to think about. Anyway, that whole thought completely distracted me from whatever I was saying. Crane gunners was the other thing that I wanted. I just remembered about the dragon tier, or the dragon breakers. Anyway, Boar Boy's trying to get away and not having a good time of it as they get quarrels and they get blasting charges to the back. And of course, Bellagar does give a pretty huge increase to the amount of blasting charges that the miners do have, so that they can chuck quite a bit of them. And they got decent stats as well. 80 armor, 46, 47 melee attack and defense. With a war drum, they could certainly act as a decent melee line. Their relatively low HP, however, means that they would still be an inferior melee line to just Bugman's Rangers, just due to all that regeneration. Anyway, here comes another set of blasting charges. What we could also do is even switch the way that Bellagar's army functions after a little while. Just because we start like this doesn't mean we need to end up like this. Although I do think that he probably can use a command barge like several of the other lords, just the one. I feel like it works nicely with the Bugmans as well. Anyway, looks like the bounce power is at about 80% in our favor now. Enemy units continue to back off a little bit, but it's allowing our units to get some nice fighting going. Night Goblin Archer unit has decided to sally out, as it were, and move towards the sort of blob of units protecting our artillery pieces. And it looks like they got a little bit too close as blasting charges absolutely decimate them as the ballista bolts keep obliterating them. Bellagar has destroyed those units that were blocking him off. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. And oh, look at that. Another unit crossing a bridge, and we got a few Bugman's Rangers that we left behind to fire down from below upon them, even as they move in and continue to take hits from the other units above. Oh, finally! I didn't realize that this Orky faction actually had green color scheme. Finally, a properly green Orc army. Which faction is this? I don't even remember now. Why is it I don't remember their name? I gotta remember because I like the idea of all the green. But anyway, looks like they're moving in towards other Rangers. These are the regular non-Bugman's variant. And thus they don't have those Angron colors, sadly. But the enemy only charges in briefly as the ballista bolts firing nearly point blank into them are doing pretty okay. Biggins destroyed, bounce power at about 90%. There is a couple more units. Look at this unit of Orc Biggins. It was here and it's just backing off. They just don't want to fight here. Which I guess makes sense because they're getting kind of wrecked, but you know. Anyway, Bellagar's Bugman's Rangers is still firing from down below. Probably not as effective as the enemy has the elevation advantage, but the Orc Air Boys are pretty inferior to Bugman's Rangers in both melee and range, and so it probably doesn't matter over much. They've got 0 kills, and the damage that they do will be just healed over through that liquid fortification as well. Yeah, the only thing that makes me doubt whether we want to have too many Bugman's Rangers units in Bellagar's army is the fact that we want them with Joseph Bugman's army as well. And I don't want to go too heavy on one unit. Granted, Bugman's army is going to function a lot differently than Bellagar's in terms of formation and all that stuff, but anyway. Anyway, with that, the Orc Pickens unit that just backed away rather than fight Bellagar will shatter, and his first battle will be his. Alright, there we go. Nice little debut for Bellagar, though I do wish the AI wasn't so keen on trying to run away from us, but I guess gotta get used to that, especially when when they're so terrified of Bellagar. So, yeah. Alright. Decent bit of kills on everybody. Solid amount of damage and kills on Bellagar as well, surprisingly, considering his lack of, I don't know, any kind of splash damage or Rune of Spite or anything like that. So, good for him. Good for him indeed. Anyway, we'll occupy the place and the game will not crash. Beautiful. Ooh. Alright, and Grim Kadrin is ours, as in the province. And we'll immediately pop you, I guess, into High King's Tribute since we've been doing that everywhere. Gotta get rid of the armory here, and I guess... Yeah, no, I think we calculated it last time that we couldn't have upgraded Grim Peak to tier 5 immediately. So, all good. Let's get that Woodsman's Hut up and running as well. There we go, and then we'll move to Eye of Arrock and to Iron Rock afterwards, and then just try to find where these guys' main stack is, and these guys' main stacks are. They're probably going to head towards us. They are still towards Central and North Confederacy, though, so who knows? Maybe we will... Maybe we'll be able to deal with them with Bellagar himself if they don't go this way. Anyway, I believe we got another fight on our hands, and that's with Mr. Malachi, who is besieging Shaman Darek. I would be perfectly happy normally to allow them to sally out and attack us, but I think in this situation we want them to attack us. Or we want to attack them, rather, fast as we can, because we just got into a war with these guys, the Steel Fist Reavers. And they occupy a fair bit of territory, and it's kind of bordering us in a lot of places. They could go here, they could go here, they could go here, they could go here, they could go here. Yeah, and we have not a single army over there, so gotta deal with it as we can. Anyway, that's you, Malachi. Let's get your guys buffed up, and then let's get into it. I guess we could get the Zufbar 42 pounders, requisition some ammo, and then Zufbar 42 pounders, and then the Runesmith. You have not put points, we have not put points on you at all, have we? Huh. I mean, normally I would go for sharpened weapons in Malachi's army, but I think because we're using a significant number of the Slayer Pirates, we'll probably get more use out of the armor, though admittedly it is only 10 armor, so it's not a lot, and maybe them killing things before they get to them might actually be worth more. Alright, fine, screw it, sharpened weapons. And that also feels more appropriate for Slayers than hardened armor, doesn't it? Runes of Speed, Rune of Oath and Steel, most definitely. Rune of Wrath and Ruin. And I guess we'll put 2 points in both of those because they're both really nice. And we'll go for Forge Fire, reduce enemy armor as well. The Slayers currently have very low range at 100, but as soon as we've done the capstone techs here, we can go in through Iron Price to get superior black powder, 10% range for Thunderers and Slayer Pirates, and another 10% range via renowned Deadeyes, so it should increase their range capabilities a fair bit. Anyway, we're gonna pop into this fight, and it should be a pretty fun one. They got lots of mammoths and just very, very elite garrison, tier 5 garrison with a garrison building after all. So I think this should be a pretty enjoyable fight. Before we do, engagement threshold, 300 likes, 50 comments, and the next episode will be an hour long-ish as well. Go.
I swear we'll destroy the foe through judicious use of advanced technology, naturally!
Alright, here we go, starting to ramp up those fights for Mr. Malachi, everyone's favorite deranged Slayer engineer, and we're going to start the battle off as we usually do with his Air Force, the only Air Force that has the regular gyrocopters. The Brimstone guns, once again, will eventually become 2 additional Thunder Barges, because Malachi deserves to have Thunder Barges along with the rest of his stuff, but it'll be a little bit until they level to that. Granted, at this point we could probably actually just build them, but they're leveling reasonably well. Anyway, a couple of Marauders decide to foolishly go out from beneath their barricade and get instantly obliterated by the piles of Slayer Pirates shooting them, which with 95 missile strength are pretty darn solid. I guess their main issue is their lack of range, which we will increase with upgrades. And I guess also their their ammunition, which is pretty low, but additional units and additional engineers and additional upgrades should be able to deal with that. And ooh, if it isn't an enemy manticore, which decides to land, but lands a little bit too close to the goblin hewers, and it does manage to bring down 2 slayer pirates who found their doom, but otherwise it really didn't achieve all that much. Units of the marauder hunters with javelins are running around, and they're obviously our main targets for our air force at the current time, as they're the only things that threaten the gyrocopters. Although they don't threaten them for much longer, as at least, well, this unit is getting pretty much obliterated. And it's time to move in with those Slayer Pirates. We'll get them some fighting too, not to worry. We're certainly not going to win this particular fight with just using our Air Force, and it looks like the enemy is going to be obliging by moving those mammoths, or starting to move those mammoths, closer towards us. Ooh, those poor marauders thought they were going to escape but lose their heads as they get sniped by long-drawn Slayer Pirates. Nice. Alrighty, and I see the mammoth, and it is certainly moving in. The Spirit of Grungni has been summoned and launches a big old harpoon at the mammoth, which actually doesn't do a crazy amount of damage, only about 10 to 15%, which means the mammoth is going to charge the pirates. Pirates are momentarily distracted as the mammoth uses the distraction of the skin wolves, of the armored skin wolves, to charge on in, instead of getting immediately sniped by everything else. The skin wolves are out, and now we turn our attentions to the mammoth as all of the Slayer Pirates fire upon it. And actually bring it down pretty darn quick. That was without the help of the Goblin Hewers, which are kind of specialized towards this. But again, we have a lot of armor-piercing damage coming in from those Slayer Pirates, which is pretty good. I'm excited to see how much damage they'll be doing once they're at their greatest levels. Anyway, the Skin Wolves and the War Mammoth are going to be replaced by a unit of Femere Warriors with great weapons and a Feral Mammoth by the looks of it. Kind of a similar idea, monsters and monstrous infantry working together. That said, the Feral Mammoth isn't going to be as big of a threat, and it is already getting a little bit beat up by the brimstone guns. Here come the Long Drongs leading the rest of our army. I'm going to get one volley off before the Mammoth charges on in this time. But it's a heck of a volley as the mammoth is down to 30% of its HP. And there we go. Nice charge from that mammoth, but I believe it is the last charge as it will get brought down. It will get brought down. There we go. Alrighty, and of course it crashes to the ground and crushes a few Slayer Pirates beneath its bulk, but that's alright. Probably not the doom that they were looking for, but at least they defeated the big boys, so I guess getting crushed isn't the worst way to go as long as the enemy has also fallen. Anyway, the Femere Warriors have arrived, but unfortunately for them, the brimstone guns fire into their backs. We got shotgun blasts coming in from the Spirit of Grungni, which continues hovering overhead, providing fire support, and that unit is done for. And well, if it isn't another mammoth, blink and you'll miss it, as the third one gets brought down by the concentrated fire from the Slayer Pirates as well. And yes, once again, we are going to use Slayer Pirates in a couple of other armies. I want them functioning. I mean, they're very versatile units since they're similar to Free Company Militia, so we can use them in various ways, which means they do have places in other types of armies. I do want them in an all-ranged army. I do think that they will work nicely with Bugman's army, and there's also potential for using them as a second or third line in a sort of mixed army of various different kinds of units. Should be pretty neat. Anyway, for now, we've got some Marauder champions moving in. Brave to move in after seeing all those mammoths go down. But I suppose they do have troll support, so here they come. As to whether they can deal with all that pistol fire remains to be seen, and here come the axes as the Goblin Hewers at last move in to help. There we go, and I do believe those trolls are pretty much out, and the Marauder champions are out as well. Ooh, okay, you gotta be careful, buddy. Yep, that's a lot of axes going into the back of that runesmith. I'm just gonna back him off lest he take too much friendly fire damage. And we got more trolls coming in. Frankly, I thought they'd just charge past a few of our units and move into the Slayer Pirates, which are perfectly happy to fight them in melee as well. They got decent melee stats, up to 45 melee attack. The defense is basically non-existent, but yeah. Alright. Honestly, it's going to be hard to find your doom if you're killing everything at pistol range rather than in melee. But that's alright. Similar to our Axe Storm army, I expect that this army, due to its low amounts of ammunition, will be an army that will, you know, run out of ammunition rather rapidly in armies and then join the melee, which will make it thus more likely for units to get obliterated. Anyway, Spirit of Gluttony still flying around, but the balance power has shifted to 90% in our favor already, and it looks like Malachi has this particular fight in the bag. Love watching those shotgunners fire down at the Ephemer Stalkers by the looks of them below. And we're going to reposition. There really needs to be a camera function. There is a follow unit function, isn't there? But I don't know if it works like this. I mostly want like the view from the Spirit of Grudgebearer just to see how they're doing up there firing away at the enemy. Anyway, with that, the rest of the enemy army that was still concentrated at the enemy key point is gonna break, and the battle is ours. They had no chance whatsoever, as the rest of our Slayer pirates were fine and would have obliterated them all anyway. Alright, a really fun battle for Malachi there. I was impressed with the damage coming out of the Slayer Pirates and their ability to hold the ground. I think the most damage we ourselves took here was with our Master Engineer, which seems to have taken a volley from our Goblin Hewers and our Low Blows and other Slayer Pirates all at once and nearly died. But otherwise, as long as we don't keep them out front, probably should be okay. Anyway, heroic victory, and we'll occupy the place, mostly to transfer it to Boris. He has these two territories and this third. We should also build some stuff, but I guess we can do that next turn. And oh, Wintertooth is destroyed. Nice. Sorry, Throggy. I do love you so, but alas. Anyway, with them gone, I wonder how much allegiance do we have with Boris? Can we tell him to go occupy something? 25. I wanted to tell him to go down here and occupy these scaling territories rather than these, though it looks like scaling are very much on the way out as well. Anyway, yeah, so we're going to trade Shaman Darek to Boris in favor of one of these Doomkeep, one of the things that we absolutely need to hold ourselves, you know, for our grudges. We'll see if it works out. Anyway, for now, that looks good to me. Let's see if anybody else needs to move this turn. I don't think anybody does. There are a couple of things I did want to do, though. First of all, all right. I mean, do we wait on this, or do we not? Oh, right, I wanted to see who was over here at Karaz-a-Karak, so we'll maybe see that, and then we'll attack these guys. These guys will sally out over the end turn. There's another army somewhere, or a third army, I think, somewhere, so we're about to have a lot of battles over the course of the end turn. But what I wanted to see or do now was this. We need to potentially defend Krakadorden, so we'll pop up a lord, a random lord, doesn't really matter, let's say you. Here at Winterpire, we will give you some okay, we basically have no traits. I guess we'll give you the... Do you have a basic variant of Rune of Oath and Steel? You do. So we'll give you Rune of Wrath and Ruin, and we'll build whatever we can afford, which by the looks of it is probably going to be pretty much miners. And ooh, they are expensive but global. We could cancel something to be able to global recruit. I'm probably not going to be able to hold the enemy back anyway, but I think we do have one turn of being able to build stuff. I guess it really depends on what... Oh, a Dragon Ogres? Yeah, that's, makes it a lot less likely. Did we build anything expensive here that we could easily cancel? Then we can't cancel the Dwarf Holds because they're now free since we confederated Bellagar, so no dice there. I'm sure we built some expensive stuff somewhere, but I'm too lazy to find it. Let's see about instead then. Getting some kind of alliance. I don't even. There you go. Some kind of alliance going with somebody. These guys are all probably going to get killed by us, so that's not really a viable. Saber Skin. I think they're not holding any dwarf holds, but they're also not worth too much money, so it doesn't really matter. We could do the non-aggression pact with Gelt for now. I guess we'll do it. It's also not a lot of money, admittedly. But try, it's better than nothing. Decent likelihood he starts hating us if we attack the Order of Lore Masters again, but we'll see. Oh, I know. What about defensive alliances with any of the dwarf holds that we got to confederate, or military alliances? Actually, there are none. We already did most of them, I take it? Okay, well, that's not gonna fly then. Alright, let's just do with what we get. Oh, wait. Sigmarsheim. You're a minor faction, but you're willing to do military alliance and pay us 3k for it, eh? I mean, they're not, it's not a horrible idea. They might survive, and we might be able to get some stuff from them. Ah, fine, go for military alliance. Generally speaking, I was doing major factions military and then minor factions defensive, but it's more allegiance, and there's a lot of Imperial units we want in some of our new up-and-coming armies. We have like 3 or 4 armies that will rely on Imperial troops in order to sort of get their new compositions up and running, kind of like Joseph Bugman's sort of caravan army. Which I'm really excited to do, especially as it won't have the same kind of formation as a standard army would. Anyway, that I hope is enough money to get at least some units up and running. Assuming, of course, that these guys can't actually reach us in one turn. If they can, then this is all a waste of time anyway. Let us get 2 miners with blasting charges out of here. And the Thunders are a little bit expensive. Quarrelers are relatively cheap, though. Let's do some great weapon quarrelers then. Oh! Huh, we could actually do gyrocopters with brimstone guns. We could actually afford one, eh? I mean, why not? Wait, actually, we can afford 2. We'll delete them afterwards, and it's an expense, but, you know, it's probably better than reinvesting into the place. Well, actually, this would be free. Actually, it is more expensive than actually just losing the place, but I don't want to deal with it, so that's how we're going to do it. Anyway, Lord Unmoved, Garrison Lord, unassigned skill points, building upgrade available, and I believe that's the end turn. Let's end the turn, see where we get attacked in 3 places. Go. Alright, there's the first sally out against Joseph of Zorn and this Jartrom army. We got some Black Orcs and some big uns in here. Plenty of Orc Boar Boys and a little bit of extra units, including some spiky rollers out of the main army. Still, I don't see them doing particularly well. If we capture the place, we'll be able to immediately, or if we kill everything, we'll immediately be able to occupy it. Though that remains to be seen. It'll be hard to catch the fast movers. And we just have to melt them before they run away effectively. If that's possible, let's find out. Alrighty, here we go, Jartrom army back at it, and I think that this is going to be a pretty darn fun fight. Now, usually what we do with this particular army is we deploy as far back from the enemy as possible to give as much time for the very long-ranged artillery, the Grudge Thrower, for example, to fire upon the enemy army, and for the flame cannons to fire upon them as they approach as well. We are deployed a little bit closer this time around here, because I think there's a nice bit of terrain that we should take good advantage of to make this into a nice little kill box as the enemy approaches with our flanks protected, but at the same time to give the enemy army a little bit of a chance to actually join the fight and, well, fight us rather than being burninated from long range like the, like many a green skin and many a rat has that has faced off against this army before. So we're gonna give them a chance. Redeploy and in fact deploy a little bit closer as we move towards the enemy army. Of course, that doesn't mean we're going to stop burninating them at range. I just think that it gives the enemy a sporting chance to get into range of the Drake guns. Anyway, Black Orcs now moving into range of the flame cannons and getting cooked in those tin can armor pieces of theirs. Down below 50% of their HP, and the flame cannons just keep on firing. Fortunately, there's way more orcs where that came from, and the loss of a couple units won't make too major of a difference. Our brimstone guns and our 2 engineers are working on some of the enemy orc boar boys. A little bit of fire damage to them as well, and a little bit of speed reduction due to the flammable application from our engineers. It does, however, look like the first of the enemy units are almost drawing into range of our Drake guns here. They are certainly in range, however, of the Iron Drakes, which against the Goblins will probably obliterate a unit of Goblins in a single volley. Taking some artillery fire back from the enemy, as they do have a unit of rock lobbers chucking those rocks at us. And the enemy army is still very much on the approach. There's still plenty of them, which means we should be able to get some good action here. Here comes a unit of Spider Riders charging bravely. into the fires and into the shotgun shells and blasting charges, but it looks like the unit won't survive, and luckily for us, we'll actually back off rather than breaking into our army. It's quite annoying when the enemy does that, and yes, it looks like we're gonna get some solid action in close proximity here. The enemy is also gonna try to loop around us with plenty of cav units, 5 looking to flank us. We only have 2 units, the Thunderers with Drake guns and the route clearance team protecting our artillery pieces, which we'll need to be careful about, and thus are going to move our brimstone guns over to that side to prevent, hopefully, these guys from charging. We also have this flank where the woods are being protected by the unit of Warriors of Dragonfire Pass. Obviously, these guys are always out front because of that huge amount of fire resistance that they've got, as they're not nearly as afraid of friendly fire as the rest of our army is. Well, not all the rest of the army. Obviously, the Iron Drakes also really don't care, because the Iron Drakes have 80% fire resistance. So yeah, they can take fire from basically every unit in this army. Alright, and we got some squiggies moving in as well. Looks like they will manage to just not close the distance, or they will not manage to close the distance, but it is allowing our Drake guns to use their Drake guns. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fully healthy units are going to crash into the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass. It looks like they were positioned well, as this is exactly where the enemy will concentrate plenty of their forces. I mean, granted, it wasn't hard to guess, as this is the only way that is on the approach that is covered by the trees and thus protected from all the range fire, and at the same time, just generally out of the direct fire from the rest of our army. Fortunately, all we need to do is reposition and start firing up those woods as well. Iron Drake's gonna start burninating into them. And let's see if we can't protect our artillery pieces, as the enemies have arrived on the flanks as well. Pump wagons will charge on through, and the boar boys are down to about 30% of their HP. Fortunately, however, the pump wagons do get obliterated by the brimstone guns, which we did earlier move to this flank in order to protect it, which was clearly the right move, as those pump wagons could have otherwise gone into the midst of our artillery pieces. Warriors of Dragonfire Pass still bravely holding as explosions light up the trees before them, and the greenskins continue to burn. And I suppose their burning axes also probably light up the trees as well. And it looks like with that, the greenskins are running on out of there. They had, it looks like, no hope of actually beating the army. But with the positioning that we took, and just generally speaking, the sporting chance that they were offered, I think it was a pretty darn good fight, with all of our units getting to do their thing. Absolutely fantastic, and man, that was a bloody end for all those units that charged through those woods. I really enjoy watching all of the bullets and the flames sort of zipping through the trees. It always makes for a fun visual. Very, very fun fight. Alright, there we go. A really fun fight that time, as the enemy army did not get burninated before they were able to reach us, and so we got a little bit of action for our Drake guns. This one getting 17k damage, and this one getting 12, pretty darn solid. Obviously, the flamethrower units all did fantastic, as they usually do, with 90,000 damage on Needle Light, and actually beating the 2 flame cannons. Pretty impressive there. Lovely. A lovely job for all of them. We will take, I guess... I mean, we'll have to auto-resolve, but we're not really damaged, so we'll take the... it's the Oath Gold we want more than the money at this point, so yeah, let's take the Oath Gold. Ah, there we go. Grimrindel has unlocked his 4th and final quest item, Runehelm of Zufbar, which is frankly kind of terrible, but anyway. Armor plus 10%. I guess we get some physical resistance. The leadership bonus is tiny and terrible. Plus 15%. I mean, this would still be pretty bad if it was if the range was map wide, and it's a tiny range for leadership, which is kind of irrelevant for dwarfs in particular. But anyway, we'll fight this eventually. And not right now, but eventually. Master Mason, Settlement Infected, Spite Peak. Well. That was the Scaven Plague, and I am not surprised by it. I guess we're going to have to switch to Valea's Blessing, or now Venerate the Ancestors, rather. Chance of Plague spreading, we'll have to reduce that, and... Wait, it got spread instantly to 2 places. Go figure. Well, yeah, one less. Screw you from Queek. And we certainly expected that. Allied Outpost lost. Salzenmund. That is incredibly irritating because we were building... we were building the Reiklander units there. I assume that... Wait. Okay, we better not have lost our allegiance from doing that. And allegiance 8. Meaning we wasted 80 allegiance or 100 allegiance or whatever on building those war wagons from Reichland, and they lost their outposts like a bunch of idiots, and now we lost all of our allegiance with them as well. Whoa. Oh, right, Morgan. Yeah, that was the runesmith that was in this army. I was wondering where you went when we were actually fighting the battle. Well, some unfortunate things happening. Alright, ready for duty, Rurik Whitebeard. That guy will be back, though. Ungrim is up at least. Some other heroes are up and running as well. Someone receives Plague. Yeah, I got that. Guildmaster for Snorri. That's fine for now. Stonemason, another Guildmaster. Dwarf Bride for King Azrael. Gonna put that on one of the Rearguard Lords. Stonemason. Anvil of Doom for Morgus Death Dealers. Stonemason, and okay. Firstly, Ungrim needs to get back on the field immediately. He can't reach Zufbar anyway, so we'll go close to it and get ready to move thereafter. I'm just going to assume that Akka the Forgotten has not decided to attack us this turn. You are going to be replaced Alaric. So lose all this stuff and then replace Lord or reset Lord. I guess we can... I mean, we might use you somewhere, so might as well reset your skill points. And then we'll replace you with Mr. Ungrim. Right here. Alright, now Ungrim, for obvious reasons, we're immediately going to get to your unique lines. So Slayer into army of 1 Slayer of many. Enemy ward save reduction is nice. Dragon Slayer gives a plus 20 bonus versus large to all of our Slayer units effectively, which is great. And Demon Slayer is a massive buff on fighting Chaos Norscan demons, which we're not doing so yet, but we'll probably eventually. The most important one is this one, Slayer King. Infantry speed plus 10% faction-wide, which is great. I'm definitely going to get some good use out of that. We're currently also fighting the Scaven. And wait, so we have bonuses for fighting Greenskins, Undead, and Chaos and Norscan demons. Meaning Ungrim is terrible at fighting Scaven. Go figure. Okay. Okay. Well, we will eventually need these, but for now, I guess it's a waste of our time. So let's go into Inspiring Presence, pop 1 point into Root Marcher, and... Well, I mean, we should still get the unique line points to get the bonus casualty or punishment rate, and still the bonuses versus Chaos. He has a lot of bonuses versus Chaos for his army. And it's specifically for warriors of Chaos and demons, meaning he doesn't fight Chaos Dwarfs that well either, but I guess we'll be sending him north then, not into the Scaven territories. Grimnir's Heirs is the obvious pick here to buff up his Slayers further. And frankly, it's probably going to be a fair bit until they reach rank 7, so we don't need to move through this in order to get here. It could get Obstinacy, but you know, I'm going to hold on to these points for now, at least some of them, until we figure out where exactly we're going to attack next, and we'll immediately be able to get one of these. I think that's the way to do it. Alright, so that's for Ungrim, and then the rest of you will level up as we go. Gonna be fighting Skaven for now, anyway. Intentional or not. Ulfar Norgrimling, you're actually supposed to move here, but I think we can't move you because they're, well, you know, there's Skaven everywhere, so we'll wait on that. Elmador Red Axe, you have to bring the Everguard with shields to Ungrim, and then bring these Slayers to Bugman. So go over here. Actually, speaking of Bugmans, check out Guildmasters, Sharp Eye, and Docky again. Okay, we'll ignore those for now. King Azrael, you are also waiting for... You're waiting for the Frostworm.
For the wisdom of
But you can still fight without the Frost Worm. And, I mean, I guess, you know what, we can move you here and then jump over the mountain. We'll go to Gundrickson's Mines, jump over, transfer, attack this at the same time, take this real quick, and then move up to Silver Pinnacle. Probably the more efficient way to do it. So go here, spend the turn, and then return to where you go, where you're planning to go after. Let's also get the techs up and running. Technology. We are going to go for first the Oath Stones, and then call upon Oaths of Old afterwards, since the Way of the Clans is not relevant to us for at least a fair few more turns. Dragon Cloak of First. Oh, you know what we could also do? And we can, not the Great Book of Grudges, but the Forge. We can get the rest of the decrees that we're missing since we have the Oath Gold to do them now. So, diplomatic relations with all factions, and dwarfs, I guess, but all factions is the important one here. Then we've got self-defense chance for heroes, or wounding aggressors. You know what? That would have been helpful, because we just lost the hero, so, well, the hero was wounded. And I wonder if he's gone for 8 turns. Not that the Chartrom army really is super worried about it, mind you. For Grimnir, gives us campaign movement replenishment after winning a battle. And then the last one will give us the additional Everguard capacity, plus a +10 melee defense for Thanes, and a nice little bolstered attack buff for Everguard with Great Hammers. Alright, and the High King decrees are complete, and now, as soon as we complete the last of the Oath Gold techs, we'll start spending the Oath Gold. First on the character and banner runes. Once we get them all, we can distribute them to armies. I kind of don't like shuffling them around repeatedly, which is why I haven't done that with most runes, other than the ancillary runes, or other than the artillery runes, which are not ancillary runes. But anyway, Thorgrim. I guess we're just going to go directly for Gates of Nagashazar. Karaz-a-Karak is right here, but it's hardly relevant, and I'm willing to bet that this should be an auto-resolve, and that will wipe out Queek for good. You're also going to go to Nagashazar afterwards. Alright, probably could have actually stayed there and got this stuff for free, and this is obviously not worth fighting. It's just clan rats and Scaven slaves. We'll quick save, auto-resolve, and we'll hope that the damage isn't too severe. Yeah, it's not. It's fine. Alright, and occupy Gates of Nagashazar. And crash at the Gates of Nagashazar. Alright, fair enough. I mean, we went, half an episode without crashing, so not too bad. Alrighty, let's try that again, and auto-resolve, and don't crash this time. We will not crash this time. Alright, Karaz-a-Karak will be the last remaining here, and that should complete our first grudge, the grudge for 8 peaks, though we are far from 8 peaks now. Maybe not far, but not at it. Just need to make sure the Clan Morris dies. That darn parting Scaven plague that we got. And hey, a Guildmaster. Nice. Another Seed of Rebirth as well, another form of regeneration. Alright, so Thorgrim is where he needs to be. Let's get moving. And Joseph of Zorn, you should now... Oh, wait. Another auto-resolve, another territory occupy. Let's not have you crash now. Alright, I do want to double-check how long it'll take to get your guy back. Another Guildmaster. I guess... Were those from getting a big amount of money as trade? I assume that that's the case, because we're starting to get a lot of those. Who's a rune? So that's you. You are gone for 7 turns. Man, these guys get wounded a lot. 7 turns is an absolute age in terms of, well, even in Immortal Empires, but in Old World especially in the late game. Anyway, let's steal some tech while we're down here looking at the heroes, and we'll level them up later as they have the critical stuff. Hegenmore Brightaxe. Who are you again? Oh, you're the Tromac Thane that's supposed to join Mr. Malachi. Malachi, you, I guess, are going this way. Probably in March stance. I mean, I don't think Sarthoriel can reach you. At least I hope not. I guess we're about to find out. Move. Could probably gotten a few basic buildings up and running here just to make the place worth a little bit more money. Okay, maybe not one of those. Let's do... No, doesn't really matter. There we go. Alright, and then you, Thane, should move into this army as well. We are still waiting for another engineer. And frankly, the engineer would probably be better in here than the Thane. I'm not 100% whether we keep the Thane as I'm not sure whether we'll have room for it. Alright, this guy's still moving in. But oh, he's got another army. Okay, yeah, we're not even gonna bother defending this then. And there's no way these guys survive. We had one more turn until the watch room was up and running, but without it, alas, not gonna happen. I mean, we could just spam all of these guys and... I don't know, I'll think about it. Anyway, Gromby, I'm curious, how far can you go? If we ignore Sarthoriel, because he's up here, and ignore Fort Stroghoff, we could jump up here and then book it onwards towards Winterpire and retake it immediately. It isn't quite what I wanted to do, I admit. Oh, also, I wanted to have you... I guess we gotta have somebody come down here. This place can build iron breakers. Although I guess you can build iron breakers in global recruitment as well. For 4.4 thousand gold each. Okay, that's a little bit on the steep side. You can build them for 1.2k in 2 turns, huh? Or... it's a lot faster to global recruit than the local build them because of the climate, I guess. Alright, well, as much as I'd love to do that, I think we still have to move up here, so we're gonna... I assume that this place doesn't offer anything for faster... it doesn't. Interesting. Faster global recruitment. I will think about whether we want to spend this insane amount of money just to get a couple more iron breakers in here. You move to Sarthoriel, Fort Scaehold will fall to Sarthoriel as well, but... No, I guess we still can't trade it, can we? Do we allow him to claim it just so that we can reclaim it? I guess it doesn't really matter, does it? I will think about this. It's fine either way. Grimly, still wanting to move up here and just never getting the chance to do so. Keep moving over here, buddy. Alright, and I started doing things out of order again. Alright, let's try to get back in order. Snorri Morgrimal, you're next on the list. Keep bringing these guys to Ungrim, who's now on the field. Grimly, we just moved you. Braun Hammerfist does not need to move. Gromby just moved. Finn, with the cannons. You are supposed to head to Cradtommen, which, if we take it now, should be immediately at tier 5. So let's see what we got in terms of defenders there. They're pretty good. Alright, maybe they'll be willing to sally out. Ooh, wait. Besiege the place. I was gonna send Kadri Asgal to help, but at the same time, I'm kind of inclined to say maybe we should allow the army to debut. Granted, it there's a decent chance of getting overrun by the sheer amount of stuff here, but on the other hand, it looks really fun, so I think we're going to give Finn Narcan Draskelson, well, I was about to say trial by fire, but it's more like another trial by fire, because admittedly he did good before we sent him to command, or to take command of this army. Alright, so we have everything that's for the Thunderers and for the cannons. I guess we're going through Obstinacy now. Runesmith. You have 3 points, you have Hardened Armor. Frankly, Sharpened Weapons might have been the better thing, but we might also get a second Runesmith in here as well. On the other hand, if the Grudge Rakers are supposed to stand in melee, maybe Hardened Armor will be helpful to them as well. Speaking of armor, we could get We Are the Elite, but nobody here can yet take advantage of it, so it's not as useful. Let's get Rune of Wrath and Ruin into Forge Fire, and then into enemy anti-missile resistance via Ward Breaker, and then getting a second Ward Breaker would probably be really helpful, and thus, once again, a good idea to get another Runesmith in here. Assuming we still need another engineer, and then I'm not sure if there's anything we'll want to take out, unless it's once again lose to the Thane. Speaking of the Thane, there isn't really anything that you can get out of these traits. I guess we could just get you the Guardian trait to, well, be the Guardian of the Lord. I don't think we're going to pop engineers into this army, so yeah, I guess Guardian is the only, the Keeper of the Gate is the only useful thing for you. Let us, however, get you Tough as Nails into Esteemed Combatant, because you're going to get attacked, and 1 point in Fell-Handed Warrior. Revered Thane is fine, but I think I want 1 point in Hero, and then... I guess we could get We Are the Elite in the Spoils. Let's move through that. Sort of army buffing traits. Oh, I should have gone through training as well. We'll start on that after. You, obviously. Flash Bomb, Break Open Casks, Triangulation, into Deadeye, Ballistics Calibration, Requisition, and Zipbar 42 Pounders. The same thing we do for every engineer once we just get them on field. Now, assuming that... this guy's an army here. I was going to send you down here to deal with them, but I guess that'll have to be the... and then it'll have to be the other forces. This is the last territory of these guys, I take it? It is, meaning we can move you elsewhere. I guess we're going to move you up here then. And we're just going to trust that Finn can take care of that one. And I don't know whether you can take care of Gazgel, just depends on whether they have a full stack waiting around to attack you on your attempt. Alright, Finn. Well, should be fun as soon as we end a turn. Rearguard Asgal is fine because he's a rearguard. Thorek, you were supposed to head to Gilgrog's Monolith. And you can, by the looks of it... Can you reach it? Oh, it's... apparently not, because it's besieged by Chaos Rebels, which you cannot reach. Alright, fair enough. Stand in camp, I guess, and get ready to move. I hope they don't take it, because we want it for ourselves. These guys can feel free to take all the territory around, anyway. Okay, no more petroleum there. Fair enough. We are importing some petroleum from the Empire, who have a petroleum reserve in the hills north of Reichland, and you will go to here, I guess? It's a little bit closer to Thorgrim. Yep. Gautry, hold fast. Keep holding fast. You're nearly there. Nearly there as the other armies are moving in, and then we'll be able to finally move you. Dwinbar Ranulfson. Ah, yes. Been waiting for this one. You have yourself a battle. You're still missing another engineer. Oh, I gotta remember to get the slowdown army putting. I'm so salty about the loss of the allegiance from the Empire, and actually that reminds me. Let's, you know what, let's expend a little bit of cash and I guess get a few more outposts up and running. Ubersreich is walled. We could do an outpost there. We'll need to wait until it's tier 2, but with the loss of all of our allegiance, I guess it doesn't really matter. It's not near anybody but the Wood Elves, and I don't think the Wood Elves are gonna attack the... well, actually, they don't like each other that much, but it is a walled settlement. What's the other safest region? Honestly, the Empire is in trouble, so I guess Ubersreich is the way to go then. Outpost. All of that allegiance. We were saving up. What can you do? Alrighty, outpost. Okay, you know what? Yeah, let's get ally missions. Let's get outposts up and running. Filman Ingerson. No, you can take out Filman Ingerson yourself. And Hack Crooked. What's the likelihood we actually get to him with Thorek? Let's try. Alright, outposts. Let's build them and upgrade them. This is going to cost a lot of cash, but at least the tier 2s. The tier 3s we can wait on, but we need to get the ability to build all the units elsewhere. Oh, we never even built anything here. Alright, Merton is the only real option. As to whether it will die remains to be seen. Oak of Prophecy is under siege, so that's not going to happen. Yeah, a lot of our allies are in trouble. Alright, what's the safest place to build an outpost with Bordeaux Errand? Castle Sangas, maybe? Frankly, Ikid is kind of once again overrunning everything. I don't know that anything here is safe, including Castle Sangas, because it's surrounded by Scaven as well. Alright, let's try Tourist Vigilance. At least it has, you know, nearby things, and we can immediately build Pegasus Knights should we desire to do so. Sigmarsheim? Let's build it in Sigmarsheim. At least these guys have all the stuff, land ships and all of that, so maybe these guys at least won't die. Oh, I don't like that Sigmarsheim is like a... can we cancel this, or is it too late? Yeah, should have built it in Martel. Oh well, too late. Too bad. Okay, obviously not the Dwarfs, and... why? You share an enemy with this faction, that's okay, I guess nearby. Alright, well, Quest's End is still where we're going to build this, and Jade Court, yes. Assuming that you don't die, which is certainly an assumption, we'll go for Giant's Causeway with you, Hunts Marshal's Expedition. We basically have one option, and frankly, these guys are kind of dying. Give it a try. Maybe they'll survive. I don't know that we're going to stay allied to the Agents of the Moon, so we'll leave them alone for now, and then... North Confederacy, Ulfreya can build stuff, but again, it's kind of in a dangerous position, so I think we'll leave it alone for now. Alright, construction begins all over the place. Let's also check Diplo while we're at it, going through all this stuff. Maybe we can get a new trade agreement going with some new faction, not you. Nagaroth would like to trade, eh? Let's try Nagaroth. Shadow Legion wants to trade with us? That's really interesting. Yeah, we'll do Nagaroth for now. I mean, the thing is, even if we do end up wanting to wipe them out, the thing is, they are so incredibly far away that it's just kind of unlikely. And Alethanar is also not one of the factions of elves that we have to wipe out for our legendary grudge, probably due to his distance away from us. So, yeah, we'll ignore that for now. And the rest of the alliances, and we can continue. Alright, back to trying to do things in order. What are we looking at here? Next, Gotrek. Okay, no, I checked you already. Dwinbar Ranulfson. Yes, I was on you, sir. Let's upgrade your Thane, and then I guess we're going into the fight. We are the elite, one last point, and we're going to declare war on Clan Rikek. Not Clan Carrion, I guess. Declare war. Don't ask your allies for help. Like so, and I guess we'll want to attack the Cursed Pit immediately rather than waiting for this little stack. Just Scaven slaves anyway. Although it would allow the 2 stacks that are coming out of here to move on to... Yeah, but then we can't chase them down with this army, so yeah, we're better off directly attacking. Cursed Pit it is. Alright, what do we have here? Ooh. We've got a pretty darn solid army here. 3 Poison Wind Mortars, Rattling Guns, couple of Mutant Rat Ogres, Hellpit Abomination, and of course the Garrison as well. Huh. Alright, I think this one's going to be pretty darn interesting. I'm a little bit worried about the Poison Wind Mortars and stuff, depending. I did not check whether this was a walled settlement. It is not, so it's going to be a field battle. This is going to be really interesting. Alright, I'm excited now. Let's cook save and let's jump on in. Come on. Come on. And away we go. Alrighty, here we go. I am very excited about this particular battle. It's gonna be a doozy. I don't know whether we will survive it, but I'm excited to find out. The Axe Storm army wasn't really built to handle more than one army at the same time, and just generally speaking is better against elite forces, sort of elite unit killers than chaff killers. And man, does the enemy have a lot of chaff. We're designed to fight one-on-one armies. We're fighting 2.5. As well. So, in terms of the way that we're going to set this up to try and survive is this. We needed to essentially protect one of our flanks, or else we'd get overwhelmed for obvious reasons, and the choice was either here or over here. And I decided on the left flank, even though there is an enemy army that's going to spawn directly behind us, and that means we're going to have to leave a few of our units of rangers to essentially protect the rear lines. Though, of course, the grudge throwers, the goblin hewers, rather, can move into melee should they need to reinforce. Now, this side would have been, I think, worse, even though it would have given us distance from all of these spawning Skaven slaves and other units, but the trees would have meant that a lot of our axes would get blocked, and yeah, I didn't like that idea. Anyway, we're going to start the battle off with the grudge throwers. Chucking those rocks, I'd like to think in the shape of axes, at the enemy. It is an Axe Storm army, after all. Obviously, the targets are going to be the enemy's long range. Firstly, the enemy unit of artillery, the Plague Claw catapults, and then followed by the Plague Wind mortars as well. Huh. Interesting that they're summoning a unit of Menace Below directly on top of the catapults. Not that that's going to do too much for them, and it looks like with the destruction of the catapults, or at least with the crews backing off, the enemy is now annoyed enough to start moving towards us, even though we could probably get some fantastic shots into this blob of units here with that shrapnel from the grudge settler grudge throwers. Alas, they're much more needed to continue destroying the enemy range. So we switch targets now to the rattling guns, as well as the enemy poison and mortars. Unlikely that we'll be able to kill them all before they manage to reach us, especially since the rats run pretty fast. But we'll just deal with it. And it looks like the enemy's vanguard is going to be some wolf rats, which will head directly towards the Axe Storm. Oh, and an immediate warp lightning comes down from the enemy Grey Seer has appeared on the field. Alright, it looks like the stopping power of those axes will more or less stop the enemy in their tracks, although it's also the combination of maim and suppression from our lord as well, which significantly reduces these guys' speeds. Though, being dead reduces your speed even further. And an assassin moves on in. It looks like we have our Thane and soon our Dragon Slayer ready to make sure that he is able to achieve nothing. The Skaven slaves and clan rats have arrived. And looks like we're just going to have to do our best to see them off with the 2 units of axe throwers that we have back there. We'll need all the rest to deal with all of the incoming enemy troops, especially their elites, their storm vermin, their mutant rat ogres, multiple, their Plague Monks, obviously, Hellpit Abomination, etc., etc. They got a lot of good stuff is what I'm getting at. Anyway, here come the Plague Monks leading, unsurprisingly, unbreakable as they are. And frankly, all the armor-piercing damage from those axes is more or less wasted on them, but, well, fortunately it looks like we will be able to knock at least this one unit out long before it reaches us. At least mostly. A couple will reach us, admittedly. Nonetheless, let's see. Looks like the Hellpit Abomination is now in range of a couple of our units. We're going to pop off that marked by Ulthar on it, and we're going to slow it down even further with a flash bomb. The Hellpit Abomination is effectively stuck. 4 speed on it, and it has to just sit there while a million axes fly into its face and bring it down. And gotta love it. The enemy is starting to get a little bit uncomfortably close, and now it's time to turn our grudge throwers into the blob and get a little bit more slow down action going on them. We can see with the grudge throwers that monstrous impact on them. The storm vermin are also now down to 4 speed in combination with maim from the grudge settler, or not the grudge settler, maim from the goblin hewers, and suppression from the guildmaster as well. A big old blob right in front of us, and they effectively can't move. Bullets from the enemy rattling guns, however, start zipping towards us as we had to switch our grudge settler grudge throwers to slow down the main enemy blob, and thus it allowed at least one of the enemy's rattling guns to survive. I do believe another one of the we got a warlord moving through. I do believe another one of the enemy poison wind mortars survived as well, so we're just going to have to do our best to clear out what we've got here, and the axes just keep flying. And there we go, the poison wind mortars have begun to fire away upon us, and we're gonna have to be careful as the rangers are fairly fragile, and the goblin hewers are fairly fragile as well. Certainly don't have the armor to take too many hits from those. We've got more clan rats moving in as well, and it does mean we're going to need to move more units, whether they be the artillery goblin hewer slayers, or whether they be more rangers into the back line. So we're gonna pop off that rune of oath and steel to buff everybody's melee defense and armor, as everybody here has relatively low melee defense, and thus is more likely to take quite a bit of damage, even from clan rats and Scaven slaves, if they're in the midst of our lines like this. That said, the enemy's main line is pretty much broken. I don't believe any of the monstrous units have managed to reach us either. I know that they had some mutant rat ogres, but I'm pretty sure they died somewhere as they approached, as they're the sort of big old targets for the axe storm. Still, by distracting the axe throwers and such, it did allow more enemy units to reach us. It also means that we have had to start using our slayers in the melee as well, which is exactly like we wanted it. Alright, getting off those artillery pieces and starting to rush the other enemies. Alright, Goblin Hewers, it's time to get to work. I mean, I guess it was always time to get to work, but start applying that bleed application to the enemy in melee. No more maim, but you maimed plenty of units as they were on the approach. Anyway, the balance of power has shifted just very, very slightly in our favor for now, or at least it was, but it went from 55 to 100% in our favor pretty much instantly. Just too dang many army losses and probably too many Scaven slaves and clan rats remaining from the reinforcing army meant that the entire army shattered and the battle was ours. Absolutely beautiful. It was close. It came down to the line as all of our units were engaged in melee, and they would have been overwhelmed with time, but it looks like the Axe Storm army lives to fight another day. Really, really enjoying this one, and that was probably their greatest fight so far. Although that fight against Khorne, where we had that choke point with, a million axes, that was also fantastic. Okay. Camera freaked me out there. That was a great fight for the Axe Storm army. That I really enjoyed that. We managed to get pretty much everything in the fight. The axe throwers, the axe delivery systems, the goblin hewers were able to basically expend all their ammunition and then move into the fray as slayers. The various rangers did fantastic work. I got a decent bit of damage on Dwinbark himself, a little bit of work on the Dragon Slayer in the Thayan as they tried to chase down enemy heroes. 810 kills on our Runesmith with his Runes of Wrath and Ruin. And then the Master Engineer, of course, buffing everybody up with some nice ballistics calibrations. As for the Rangers, who did the most work, at 30k, just by a tiny bit, the Rat Catchers. Well, very aptly named, because many a rat was caught and, I don't know, mutilated in this particular battle. Dismembered by, you know, a million axes to the face. A lovely, lovely fight. Heroic victory at that. I hope I quick saved because I no longer remember. Alright, is it okay? Ooh, okay, I think it's okay. It's not gonna crash. Guildmaster again. Gyro capture for Scalf Gunnison. You don't need that, I think. I mean, on the one hand, it would allow you to hover overhead and reposition a little bit easier. I don't know what they're... you know what? I'll stay on the gyrocopter for now. I might be able to fire... just standard fire. It's actually cheaper to have them on the gyrocopter mounts than it is on the no mounts, so... which is a little bit odd sounding, but yeah. Anyway, you, sir, are gonna get a Warmatic. Frankly, I should have done that earlier, but... oh, right, we were looking through... nonetheless, get Warmatic for now. And then we'll go for, I guess, I'm gonna say Tactician. A little extra bit of ammunition for the Goblin Hewers. Clearly they ran out, and clearly they could maybe use a little bit more. Also, let's double check whether we get any new decent engineers. Metal Slinger. What are you? You're also Metal Slinger. Double up on the Metal Slingers. Perfect. You're gonna go in here then. We'll take it, and then let's immediately get break open of the casks, flash bomb triangulation, deadeye, ballistics calibration, and then we'll be 1 point short of Zufbar 42 pounders, which is perfectly fine. And that's a little bit of more ammunition, a little bit more damage on all those axes. Even without a Slayer at the helm, the various units of Goblin Hewers are hitting pretty darn hard. 5.3k currently, probably going to jump up to like 6k with the additional Ranger unit or the additional Engineer. And as we get them, their rank 7 buffs eventually. Malachi currently has them buffed up to... just out of curiosity, where did we put him? He currently has them buffed up to 7.2k, but obviously at 80 range rather than 120, and he's kind of specialized for them, so I like it. I like it a lot. Anyway, let's see what else we gotta do this particular turn, shall we? Gotry, hold fast, it's holding fast. Let's see. Skag Ironbrow, oh, you're right. You're gonna die here. Good luck. Bye. Gallon Heldauer, you're fine as you are. Groth Baruch. Oh, right. Morgus Death Dealer. Wait, who's Groth Baruch again? Oh, right. Okay, you actually need to start recruiting, dude. Go here to Karaz, and you are going to start up on those organ guns, and then follow up with those Iron Drakes. This is gonna be our long-range torpedo army, plus organ guns, and probably some engineers and stuff like that. Oh, speaking of engineers, let me just see here. How close are we to tier 5? 1 turn, is it? 1 turn, but getting there. And, oh, we should actually build some bunch of stuff, but anyway. This is probably a good place to build another Tinker's Den for Guild Master's Council. On the other hand, we could build a hangar here and get access to engineers close by if we don't just use global recruitment to get them in the armies that they're needed to be in, which admittedly is a distinct possibility. What are the other options? Not the deeps, although we will probably build deeps here. Frankly, we'll eventually delete the Rangers barracks here as I don't see too much of a purpose to it, but in the meantime... I guess start with the Tinkers, then we still need tons of engineer capacity, like just an obnoxious amount of engineer capacity, but anyway. Back to Morgus Death Dealer. The other guy's recruiting. Oh right, there was an Ogre army that is currently moving to Blackfang. As to whether it can reach Blackfang in 1 round, I guess remains to be seen. So we'll have to see. Let's upgrade it nonetheless. It is free to invest in at least the main structure, so nothing lost even if we do lose the place. And we'll do still some minor investments in the place, and we'll probably want to get a random lord up and running. Sundram Cromson. I mean, technically the Rune Lords are the better options because they can support the army even if they can't fight well.
Only what I listen to is...
Fine, let's do the Rune Lord then. Rune Master. And obviously, if these guys can reach the place in 1 round, they'll just die. Are you at war with these guys, by the way? You are not. Can you join the war against these guys? Red Maw. Minus 23. You know what I should have done? When trading the slave takers camp, we probably should have just gotten them to go into the war. Who are you even at war with? Scryer and Dimmed Sun. Well, admittedly, the Dimmed Suns are nearby, so I can see why you would be hesitant to join this particular war. Let's build miners because they take 1 turn. And then here... what can we build that's reasonable in terms of expensive? It's mostly Quarrelers, but it's... I mean, against the Ogres, I think, again, we'll do double up on the Gyrocopters of Brimstone Guns. I know they're stupidly expensive, but it is what it is. And then get the Great Weapons Quarrelers. It's still better than, you know, having to schlep all the way back here. And anyway, you continue moving down towards these guys' territories. They're not going to be happy, but that's their problem again. I guess you could just wait. How many territories do they have here? 3. Just out of curiosity, they do want to peace out, so we could just forego fighting them all together. But anyway, yeah, so they have 3 here, and that'll put us essentially in range of the Legion of Asgore, which we'll have to start fighting soon. Gotta remember to make this guy into a proper army. It's gonna happen, guys. It's just not the biggest priority right now, because they're not really fighting any real battles, and until they do, I just don't see the need. Anyway, Morgus Death Dealer. You were the one that just moved, and now I gotta find you again. Oh, that was quick. Timzad Blackbeard. I was gonna have you recruit some stuff for Gromby, but I think for now we'll just sit here. Stochel Gundrickson, you guys were all going to attack this stuff. And oh, these guys didn't sally out. Or was that this turn? Okay, let's double check. Yeah, I took a tiny bit of damage. They didn't sally out. That's a little bit unfortunate. This means we have to fight this manually because it won't work as a cinematic. Alright, we'll fight this manual in a bit. Let's take a look at what else we need to do, and then we'll manually fight it. Tech Thief. I thought I moved you all, but apparently I did not. Steel Tech. Well, okay, there was no need to move you anyway because you failed. You failure of a Tech Thief. Alrighty, Bellagar. Is there an Orky army nearby? I do not see one, so you're gonna head directly to Eye of Arok and then up to Iron Rock. At least this particular orc faction is worth quite a bit of grudges settled, so... Huh. Yeah, the Outer Resolve really doesn't like Bellagar's army, does it? What the heck is the deal with that? I mean, he can still do it. As in, not resolve this particular weak location, but... Oh, it's another crash. Wellity, wellity, wellity. Well, it was bound to happen, I suppose. That's why we quick save, folks. At least it's working out. Anyway, I'll be back in a sec. Alright, let's try that again, and let's see if it crashes this time, though now I don't know what time we're at in terms of the episode length, but I'm just going to assume that it's decent, at least for now, and then I'll stop when I feel like it. Anyway, well, let's see who else needs to move here. Oldest Hellhine, you... Every time, name Oldest just gets me. You're just gonna stay here. I mean, we need to transfer your stuff, but just in case the orcs come a call and I like your current position, you already get gold. We're gonna have you manually attack in a second. Kazran Grimbrow, I wanted you to move towards Karaz-a-Karak, and I want to see what's over there before we do anything else. And we got Scaven here, and oh, this is a Clan Spittle location. Okay, interesting. I wasn't expecting this to be Spittle right now, actually. Wait, I thought we got all their territories up north. Let me just double check this. So, we've got Hellkeek of Spittle with 4 territories. Huh, there's also tier 5, so if we were to capture it and then... Wait, what's our growth here at... Oh. If we were to capture it and get... Oh, but we can't capture Kazad Elgazund because... Okay, wait. No, we shouldn't capture this right now because if we wait until this goes up to tier 3, we'll be able to capture it at tier 5 then. Yes, good, Ruinous, good. Alright, so we... Oh, also, that reminds me, we had the Confederation complete, which is also useful, potentially. We could confederate these guys, and that's actually a fairly decent army. Look at that. A couple Longbeards, lots of Iron Drakes, pretty darn solid. An unnecessary amount of bolt throwers, I'll admit, but still probably good. So if you shouldn't be capturing Karak, for Kamaz, you also don't have artillery, so if they sally out, you'll probably have a fairly difficult time with it. We do have a single unit of gyrocopters, but it is not the gyrocopters that we would want for this. Nonetheless, even with that artillery, I'm reasonably sure they'd win. I would like you to have or get at least 1 point in Axe Lord, because you have Grimnir's Heirs and... Oh! Alternatively, we could get... I mean, we'd reset you anyway, though I don't dislike Tactician or Army Tactician here. Let's see, Venerate Smedner would give us... magical damage. I'm almost tempted to just go for Venerate Morgrim just for the Master Engineer capacity, but we're starting to get increased Master Engineer capacity, so we might be able to deal with it. Could go for the +4 melee defense instead. Although, ironically, that's essentially effectively the same thing as venerating... You know what, let's venerate Grimnir. Melee attack and missile resistance, we're going to need it for this, and then you're going to be reset anyway because the AI has done bad with your point attribution, and then we'll deal with it. Might attack Elemento right now, but then we have to keep in mind that these guys will come out of Fester Spike and move towards Khazad Weirworn, though... Yeah, it'll probably take 2 Scaven stacks to deal with it. Probably like to deal with you first, although if we... you know what, wait the turn. We'll deal with it in a second. Everything's coming together, don't worry. Not oldest, let's just make sure that we move everybody else so that we know what's happening, or at least I know what's happening. Alright, Callan Heldar, and I think that's it. We're just going back through the stuff that we did before. Oh, you know what we could do? Let's see. No, you're still not going to be able to hold off 2 enemy armies. I was going to say maybe we could put Norgrimling's Ironbreakers into this, but admittedly, no, this is just a waste of time. Let us not bother. Mostly because I don't want to waste Grudge Settler units, and, you know, that would be a waste. Anyway, let's do this manual fight real quick, shall we? You already get gold. Get some gold and get some kills. This won't work cinematically, but it'll work just fine manually. The warp bombs are going to be a concern, but we have artillery in this army unlike the other armies, so we should... Oh, I didn't quick save it. Oh, no. Okay, well, here's hoping. Yeah. These guys are starting to get some pretty darn good garrisons, though, aren't they? The... Doom wheels, lots of artillery, all that sort of stuff. Is this location the one with the invincible tower? Huh, wait, no. No invulnerable tower, no invulnerable tower. I think there used to be an invulnerable... I think this tower used to be invulnerable, but I guess it no longer is. Well, that's great. That's really great. Alright, so we'll move you all back. We'll have the artillery knock down those towers quickly, as I do believe they'll be able to do so quickly. And everybody else will move in and obliterate them. Alright, let's move you all up. I mean, likelihood of the Thunderers of any kind being particularly useful here is pretty low, I will admit, but give them a shot anyway. Like so, like so. We'll keep 1 unit of Dwarf Warriors here. I don't think the AI will summon rats on top of them, but who knows? Still a distinct possibility. Ooh, we would also have to be wary of enemy artillery firing back at us. Maybe we can actually just back you off slightly. Alright, enemy artillery is going to be the main target though, or enemy towers. I think that's it. Alright, let's attack you, and then enemy artillery is here. Okay, so you're gonna go for that. We're gonna speed this up to max while we knock down tower 1 like so, and then we'll switch to tower 2. Alright, the enemy is going to fire away at us, but... Okay, tower is done. Flame cannons, you can't target the other thing, but what you can do is destroy that gatehouse and breach the wall as well. Let's speed this up as well for a few seconds. Alright, gate is breached. You all are going to march over here and get ready to fight. Let's speed this up again. Alright, gate is breached again, the wall is breached. Now let's get 1 more breach in the wall. And as soon as that's done, we're going to move forward. Always feels so weird playing at max speed, because I always feel like I have to talk faster together with the sped up game. But it is what it is. Anyway, everybody moving on in, and the artillery is still firing away at us, but it is heavily damaged now. Let's burninate some of those enemies with our flame cannons, maybe moving even closer, like so. And then start moving our units in. There's that pestilent breath movement, but that's alright. Alright, next up we need to pop the Dwarf Warriors into shield wall stance, and... You guys can't fire? Okay, no, they're just getting into position. Nobody panic. Alright, it looks good, and... you guys move on in, and then we'll have the, let's say, Thunderers follow up. Once they're inside, of course. Alright, and let's speed it up again. Alright, artillery ammunition is starting to run out, so we will have to be a little bit careful with that. Maybe try to fire on those plague monks as well. I do... Oh, no. Didn't mean to actually allow you to close the distance in the manner that you did. Try to fire at those plague monk sensor bearers all the way out there. I think that'll be quite useful to us. Alright, now, these guys are in. We're gonna follow suit with some units of Thunderers. I'm going to park the Thunderers up on top of the walls to be able to fire down on the Doom Wheels, at the very least the Grudge Raker Thunderers. You guys maybe try to go after the Doom Wheel. I don't know whether you can hit it from here, but slowly but surely we should be able to establish some good firing lines and stuff. Alright, so you are going to go here, you are going to go here, and oh, you should actually go here first. Alright, then you guys going to set up. It'll take a little bit, but it'll be worth it. Establish our beachhead, as it were. Alrighty, flame cannons. Looks like you're trying to move in. As to whether you'll be able to fire remains to be seen. Quarrelers move up as well. Alright, and you've been firing away. Perfect. Alright, and up you go. Up you go. And up you go. Rune Lord in the midst of all this, you guys climb up here and get ready to fire down on the enemy below. You guys in the middle of the other units, like so and like so. And then we will pop you guys in. Here come the enemy. I think I turned off skirmish mode, or at least I hope I did. Alrighty, you guys are going to try to fire at some units over there. And we'll probably pop an oath, a rune of slowness rather, not an oath of slowness. I certainly hope. That doesn't sound like a very good oath. Alrighty, and okay, you guys should be firing at the Doom Wheel. Frankly, all of the Quarrelers, I'm going to turn you on guard mode, and then all of you have fire at the Doom Wheel as well. Alright, the rest of you are looking good. Here comes another Doom Wheel as well. Let's see if the Drake guns can do anything about it. And you guys back off. You're about to... Oh, you're already taking a massive amount of damage from the Doom Wheel, but that's alright. And, looks like it's pretty resistant. Oh, a Warp Bomb in the Doom Wheel. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. I wasn't expecting that. I would expect them to, you know, Doom Wheel explode a unit of, like, clan rats and stuff, but putting a Warp Bomb on a Doom Wheel, you got me, rats. You absolutely got me. I love it. Alrighty, just everybody stand there, and how is this Doom Wheel still kicking? Fire away at it, please. I don't even care if you do a little bit of damage to our own units of, units. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna back away those Grudge Rakers. Without the buffs of the Lord, they're going to be a bit more of a liability. But it's alright, as long as our other units are firing down upon them. And what is firing at us through here? Oh, there's an enemy tower. Well, not cute. Let's have you fire upon that tower then, and knock it out. Let's set the artillery up in, well, behind everybody. Alright, Grudge Rakers are good to fire through. And the other unit of Grudge Rakers is back, so we'll put you where you need to be. Alright. Quarrelers, yeah, they're still able to fire at everybody, and I guess we could watch this for at least a little bit, and just hope that our flame cannons don't kill off too many of our own units. Which is a distinct possibility, but anyway, we've got the Quarrelers firing over the walls, we've got the Thunderers firing from on top of the walls, the Grudge Rakers firing, the Drake guns firing from behind the main line, and a little bit of artillery and all that. It looks pretty good. Solid Dwarfen beachhead siege. I'm still very impressed with the Doom Wheel Warp Bomb. I mean, if you're going to carry a Warp Bomb into the midst of the enemy line, that's a really good way to do it, you gotta admit. Alright, how's that enemy army looking? Pretty bad. I'm surprised that the Hellpit Abomination hasn't attempted to actually charge down towards us. Alright, y'all need to get back into a shield wall stance, please. And we're still in a good position. How's that Hellpit Abomination? Well, it's gonna get fried at this rate. Also, how's that enemy tower? Just got brought down. Fantastic. You fire at this and ooh, hello. I didn't mean to ungroup you. I meant to target those death globes. Death globes are gonna be the key critical target here. Can't be having those guys, well, alive. Just generally speaking. So let's have the flame cannons burninate them quick as you can. In fact, maybe you guys hopefully don't get burninated as well. The Drake guns, I mean. It should be used to singed beards, but not perhaps getting, you know, a flame cannon shooting you in the back of the head. Doesn't sound too pleasant. Alright, this unit of Death Globes is nearly done for, and you can... Well, I'd like you to switch to the Poison Wind Globadeers, but frankly they're kind of running away and we might not be able to do anything about that. Anyway, let's speed this back up a little bit. How are we doing? Alright, that unit is at Flame Cannons, starting to run out of ammunition, but I wager it's not going to matter over much. Alright, you guys want to target us at a unit of Storm Vermin, Plague Monks. I mean, Warlord is out here as well, but I'm willing to bet he's not going to attempt to charge us. And the Hellpit Abomination is done for. And I'd say we could go up here, but frankly our range units should be able to take care of you. You guys move here. Alright, and Flame Cannons, I would like you to target that Storm Vermin unit. I think we should maybe move our main line up a little bit, which will allow all of our Quarrelers to start moving in the settlement as well and get a little bit more distance. A little bit closer, as in. Alright, looking pretty good. Storm Vermin still burning. Let's speed it back up to max and burninate them more. Soon gonna run out of ammunition on those Flame Cannons, but... Oh, looking pretty okay. There we are. Alright, still need to get you, but we don't have anything we can do about your ammunition. Not that that's a big deal. Alright, Flame Cannons, stop firing. We have the Quarrelers to outrange the enemy. Okay, how did you just get damaged? You got attacked by the Flame Cannon, didn't you? Ah, should have seen that coming, which I did, but I did nothing about it. Why do I fear success? Anyway, you guys have moved in. Let's move you all in as well, and speed it back up while everybody repositions. Enemy's really just too afraid to move in, but that does make sense. They are in a pretty bad position compared to us. But that does mean we can keep using the Quarrelers' ammunition. And just sort of slowly but surely moving up to the enemy as we do. You guys move forward. You guys move forward like... Actually like so that you can both fire maybe. Quarrelers? I hate when the AI backs off like this. Like, what's the point? It's not going to help you. And we're just going to get closer and closer and further into your settlement, and there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. Flame Cannons, if you could burninate that Poison Wind Globadeer unit, the enemy will probably lose. In the sense that they will have absolutely nothing that they can do anything with anymore. Oh, and you just ran out of ammunition. I think we got one more volley on one Flame Cannon. Let's fire it at, I don't know, this unit of Plague Ogres, Rat Ogres. And there we go. Rat Ogres are out, other range units are out. You guys can start moving on up here. I don't think the enemy can do anything about you. You guys can start moving forward as well. We still have the Thunderers providing support. Maybe don't go past the Thunderer range. Like so, get the Thunderers firing away. Let's watch those Drake guns and Grudge Rakers combine. There's a little bit of a Quarreler and regular Thunderer action as well. Nothing those guys can do about it, I'm sure. Alright, that looks good. We doing a good up here? Yeah, these guys charged us a little bit, but it looks like the Thunderers with Drake guns will see them off. I'm still shocked that the enemy army hasn't shattered yet. I guess it was once again an elite garrison, so maybe I shouldn't be as shocked, but... You know, oh, and I guess we'll have to wipe out the Plague Monks. Every single one of them. Alright, fair enough. You guys start moving down there now. We've got the regular Thunderers. I mean, I guess they can move now. You guys set up here. I assume there's no units over there. Ooh, they've got a Warp Lightning Cannon, but they can't do anything with it because Warp Lightning Cannons aren't generally particularly useful on the defense just due to needing way too much clear sort of line of sight. Alright, speed it up. And they're still backing off. Oh, AI. Why don't you fight? All you're doing is wasting your own time. Alright, you go forward, you guys line up, and there we go. Shotgun's gonna obliterate that unit of clan rats, and yeah, there we go. With that, the AI realizes that there's nothing I can do. In fact, it appears to have sent in either its Warlord or its Plague Monk, and the battle's ours. Wait. It's not ours because there's probably still an invincible unit running around somewhere. Or an unbreakable unit, rather. Alright, everybody move forward, find the unit. Oh, is it it's not the artillery piece, is it? Okay, some of you go over here. Ugh, this is gonna be a while. And, aha, there it is. Alright. Go after the Plague Monk Sensor Bearers. All of you go after the Plague Monk Sensor Bearers. Somebody's gonna reach them eventually. And they're just standing there. Last one. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. There's another one somewhere. Okay. Okay, game, fine. Let's move and find the other one. Oh, it's the Warp Lightning Cannon. It wants us to be in range in order to... Okay, so I'm gonna go over there. And while you guys go capture this, and... Oh, you're gonna get hit by towers now. Okay. Yeah, the battle should really end at this point, you know what I mean? I'm not really sure why they decided to do this, as in the battle doesn't end until we get proximity. There we go. Looks like we got close enough, finally. Until that happens. It's not like they were going to get out of that one, especially with the balance of power the way it was. Even the AI should have been able to recognize that aspect of it. Not that it matters over much. Tiny little bit of damage on one of our units of the Grudge Rakers, and I'm going to assume that that was the one that got hit by that warp bomb nuke. Maybe, although I thought that it hit the Longbeards. Either way, basically no damage. And I would have auto-resolved it, but it, it wasn't possible, so. Frankly, this army would have been a lot more effective in a field battle than it would be in a siege battle, which is generally why I try to avoid the avoid sieges with less than a garrison plus a full stack inside, because again the AI isn't good at it. Occupy and oh thank you. It didn't. Oh wow, you're actually looking pretty good. You know what? Let's get you out. We will still get adjacency bonuses here. So, that's another. It's a tier 4 feast hall, though. It's not bad. Well, either way, you're gonna go to High King's Tribute. I'm gonna say get rid of this. Mustering hall, probably not the best place for it. We have other more important things. We can build the mustering halls in basic territories. Now, I guess we should just confederate these guys, unless Karak Azorn wants to confederate. I was much more interested in them than I was in Karak Norn, to be honest. And no, still don't want to. Minus 18.5. I guess we need them to like us a little bit more, which is going to be difficult if we keep confederating all of these minor dwarf factions. But with every minor dwarf faction gained, it's more items and units and stuff, grudge settler units, that we can borrow from them. So why not? Confederate you as well. Granted, the public order loss isn't great, but...
'Tis a great day.
Alright, there we go. You are ours now. Let's see what we picked up with this. On the bright side, we now have enough money to not have to worry about the money cost of this. Confederation. Alright, now, you are a very solid army, so we can probably conquer the rest of these territories with just what we have here, random smattering of units or not, and then we'll eventually make it into a proper army. In the meantime, just go into encamp stance and proceed towards Karak Norn, which has to be reclaimed. Being a realm and all that. Demolish Grimhold's clan barracks. You can collect the money, it doesn't really matter. Get rid of the trinket maker. You know what? Keep some of the military structures for now, at least. I'm not so sure whether we want to actually delete them or not. At least while we wait to deal with all of this stuff. Now,
I share the forest's thoughts.
I'm wondering what's the likelihood of the Wood Elves actually declaring war on us, like, right now. Because it's decent.
For my oath.
If they do, I mean, I guess it depends on how many of them do, right? I'm just wondering whether we'd be able to protect the place, but I guess we'll find out. Let's cross that bridge when we come to it, and all that. Now, I guess the question is, do we want to immediately declare war upon the Clan Fester faction? I think we want to maybe take Karaz-a-Karak first, and then do that after. I really don't like this army sitting here, but we know that there's at least 2 stacks sitting at Fester's Spike, and then, assuming we declare war, they'd go here, these guys would go here, we'd try to jump to protect this, and we might be intercepted, and at the same time, I might not get there in time, so I think it's probably the safer thing to do to wait right now. Next up, we got buildings to build, and a lot of deeps to upgrade, presumably. Actually, I feel like I built the magma cannon somewhere, and magma cannon, it's a chaos dwarf thing. Magma cavern in, I think actually 2 places last time, which means we have to find it and then upgrade it to the next level because it causes debuffs, so we gotta remember to do that. Trading depot, but let's build what we can on the sort of overmap for now. In Gribbletown, we're trying to grow, yes, so we'll still build a Stonebeard bakery, bread bakery. Immortals hold... I mean, I guess we could do that, or we could pop a deeps in this particular location as well, and then get rid of this later. Probably doesn't matter over much either way. Oh, or instead of the deeps, we could just build another capacity building. You know, I'm just gonna ignore you for now. Let's see, this place we don't necessarily need to ignore. Yeah, just upgrade the stone bakery. And is this a foreign entity? Oh, it's just the Grail Knight Grave, okay. I was concerned about it being one of those filthy rat towns. Bone Gulch will ignore you for now. Silver Tarn, you're fine, at least on the over map, you're fine. East Trollheim Mountains, at least the upgrades got pretty darn fast in the late game, and I guess... okay, I'm just gonna leave you alone for now. Especially since most of those stone bread bakeries are going to be deleted later on. Let's upgrade you, and you. Oh, is everything free here? That's fantastic. And this place we do actually need to grow quite a lot, so we will want to build a barley field here, and... I mean, I guess the Scrat Mine? You know what, this is going to be a good place for construction... It does reduce construction time as well, yeah, fine. We'll go for the construction site. Because we'll be generating a lot of money due to the special port here. It'll be a good money-making territory. Alright. Next up, Skullreach Cavern, you're fine. You are going to get upgraded immediately. You are going to hold off on your upgrade. We'll check the deeps right after this and then end the turn. Obviously, we're going to get mines. You, Blizzard Peak, are going to be second to Bloodmaw Camp. Alright, there's probably also a couple of troops we need to build in a couple locations. In case I forgot, Trading Depot, you're good as well. Shining Mountains, ooh, lots of stuff to build at Mount Gunbad, which is great. You. Mine and Gold Mine, and then Deep Mine, and then Trading Depot, and everything's free as well. And you're in the process of being upgraded to Tier 5 as well. We'll obviously go for the Karaz Ankor. It's going to make a massive amount of money in general, this territory, so we'll go for the construction site, and we will follow up with the Trading Depot, but we'll start with the Scrat Mine first. Peak Pass. You are looking pretty okay. Let's upgrade the Dwarf Keep here. Mine, Gem Cutter's Workshop, and another Trading Depot. Every Trading Depot is more faction-wide growth rate after all. Scrat Mine and, go figure, a Trading Depot. Thunder Peaks. We, I guess, are still trying to grow this place, although probably a waste to have the growth structure in a main settlement as opposed to a sort of minor settlement nearby, so probably not. Alright, we're nearly at the end there. Ooh, is this our last 8 Peaks landmark? Melee defense +1 armies faction-wide. Might be our last one. We've built a bunch of them. I'm not 100% sure whether it's all of them, but we definitely built a bunch. Karaz Ankor here at Nashrek's Lair, East Gate. Oh, I was just talking about these things. This one's kind of terrible, but build it nonetheless. Gotta have them all. Oozy Eye Camp, right. You are, well, at the very least, you can build a trading post, and you know, let's get rid of the Rangers outpost and the watch room. Well, you know what, keep the watch room for now. I'm not going to upgrade it, but there's a decent likelihood we get into a war with those greenskins because of their proximity. Frankly, I'm surprised they haven't declared war on us at this point yet, so... It's gonna happen. Forbidden Citadel. Yes to the Irkul/Vaults upgrade, and then we can get you your Trading Depot. Putrid Swamp. This is Putrid Stump. Putrid something. I'll think about it, as in what exactly we want to do with that. I mean, it's a single territory, so it might make a better military location for military structures than it would for a regular sort of territory. And Migorcon, let's upgrade the Ornate Great Gate. The Trading Warehouse. Oh, wow, this place actually costs stuff. I guess it is a new territory that we just got, but, oh, Thorgrim's not there, is he? If we wait the turn, everything would be free. Well, yeah, but then we would have to not go to Nagashazar. Nah, that's fine, it's fine. Let's just build stuff. Karaz Ankor, and I don't know how much money this place is going to generate, but build the mine nonetheless. You, Migdal von Galbarak, we are not going to invest in because we are wanting to capture the rest of these and then upgrade Kirkhern immediately to Tier 5. You, Guzzer Mines, might very well be in the same position, so we're not going to upgrade you as well. Svedora, you are going to be traded to the Kislevites, and Gashazar, you're in the same way as well as we're wanting you to upgrade. Blood River Valley, Eye of Arhok. You know what? Keep the ranger structure for now. I feel like we could make use of it. And we want to capture Aldium at tier 5 as well, so just stay as you are. Luckily, all these minor territories might be needed to just be ignored right now. What the heck happened here? Oh, right, I wanted to make this a military territory. Yeah, that's fine. Alright. Winterpire. Probably going to fall next turn, so we're not going to bother investing in it. Decent likelihood at any rate. Same thing with this place in the sense that I don't want to deal with it right now. Grung Duraz, let us upgrade you. And then only the Deeps will remain. Karaz-a-Karak, you're fine as well. We're not upgrading you because we want to get a higher tier upgrade. And then Monolith of Flesh, we're ignoring you. Most likely to eventually be traded to either Boris or Ashiotla, but, you know, not necessarily right now. Alright, next up. You just have to quickly go through all this again, just to look at the Deeps. I wish there was a way to select just the Deeps ever. We will want to build a magma cavern here, but we don't have the decrees. I just remember that there are 2, so we just have to find where they are. Not you. And that was this place, right? I think it was this place. Ugh. This UI really needs to be changed up a little bit. Especially once you have a lot of Deeps in a lot of locations, it starts to get confusing. Idol of Zakalug. We can upgrade some stuff here. So let's go Ruined Guild Foundries, a Ruined Counting Room, and I guess either one of these doesn't really matter, or maybe it does matter, but I don't know. So let's just go under Deep Mine here. And we could upgrade you for the High King's Decree. It's a little bit expensive now, but yeah. Oh, right, wait, we could just click on the ones with the little hammer thing, can't we? Yes. I don't know, I wasn't doing that earlier. I've still undecided on whether we want to stop the, this thing in its tracks. No, seriously, I swear I built two magma caverns. Or maybe they take, If they take time to build, then they might not be available yet. There's one right here, okay. Okay, that's one. Because we don't want it like this, minus 50% income from all buildings, all regions in the province. And then there should be one more. I may have missed it, which... Oh, what the heck? This thing went out of order. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, no. Okay, well, that's not great. Okay, it's not here. Although we do want to build this stuff at Magorkan. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna... screw it. I'm gonna look for it between the episodes. It'll just be one turn of small amount of... Okay, huge amount of reduction in that one territory. Skip. Siege equipment, where?
Fight.
Right, okay, well, we'll see if these guys sally. I don't know whether they will. Deeps upgrade available. Oh, I know, game. I know. I was looking for it. And I guess that's the end turn. Sartorial will take Fort Scaehold. Okay, one more check. Can it be traded to anybody? Is there any way to do it? I don't think so. No. Screw it. Alright, and they will indeed sally out of Karaz-a-Karak. There's no way that we can destroy them all, but we should certainly fight this. This is an elite garrison of a similar sort of type that we fought within the enemy settlement, but this is going to be a lot harder. One, we have no artillery, and just generally speaking, the army is a lot weaker. Granted, I could have probably evolved a lot more troops to more elite troops, but I didn't do that, so we're just going to have to work with what we got and have ourselves a nice, fun fight. So... as soon as the game stops quick saving, we're gonna fight.
For the ancestors.
Alrighty, here we go. I did promise some generalist armies, and while this particular army wasn't really, let's say, purpose-built for it, because obviously it was confederated from Karak and Norn, or was it the other? It doesn't matter. Because it was confederated, let's say it doesn't really matter over much, and we'll evolve it similar to a couple of our other generalist armies over time. Anyway, we've got a fairly decent position here. The middle of the map is, well, it's just generally a mountainous map, so we're kind of nestled into the mountains here really nicely. And oh, I remember this valley. This is where Karaz Grudgebearer managed to burninate many thousands of rats with his flame cannons when we fought here. But we're instead going to fight all the way here. Huh. I wonder if you can move up here. Edge of the map is all the way up here. I wonder if you could just... I think not. No, it's impassable terrain. We can see that it's... this entire place is impassable. But anyway, we're going to start the battle off by trying to annoy the enemy artillery pieces. Really got to knock out those Warp Lightning Cannons and Plague Claw Catapults. We're going to start on the Warp Lightning Cannons, even though they're probably not as threatening to our main line, but they are very threatening to our single unit of gyrocopters. Unfortunately, since it's not a brimstone gun, it's going to take a long time to clear out these guys. We've seen the brimstone guns, or even more so the grudge settler units, obliterate artillery pieces in a couple of volleys. These things are anti-infantry, and they're going to take a much... it's going to be more difficult for them. But hopefully, slowly but surely, they'll be able to wipe out the crew even if they can't destroy the actual artillery pieces themselves. Might be able to, or might even have to, speed it up a little bit with a bomb drop or two right in the midst of the enemy artillery crew. No, it looks like that bomb drop actually destroyed a couple of the artillery pieces as well, so that's nice. The Plague Claw Catapults aren't going to be a big threat to them, so it's much better to just knock out the artillery or the Warp Lightnings and then actually probably move to the Death Globes as well. In the meantime, the rest of the army is moving towards us, and we do have to be careful with all the big single entities or low model units that they've got. Rat Ogres, 2 Doom Wheels, they've got a Plague Priest on the big old sensor there. We've got, I've already said the Doom Wheel, but I didn't say a Hell Pit Abomination. And that's a lot of stuff that could just straight up break through our lines. Fortunately, though, at least the Warp Lightning Cannon has been destroyed. Now we got to get to work on those Death Globes. Alright, fire away and down into them. I suppose that's not the most interesting, so let's just speed up this little part while they do the dance. And of course, while we're focusing that unit down, it does mean that the Plague Claw Catapult is not under fire and is drawing closer and closer and will be able to begin firing upon us rather soon. Enemy's going to hit us with a Pestilent Breath, and the rest of their army is moving on in. Let's see if they can break through our lines. Rat Ogre's going to lead as the vanguard. They're going to take a few blasting charges and axes to the face, but they will, let's see, well, keep about 30% of their HP before moving on. And here come the enemy artillery as well as the Plague Claw, I don't know, goo boulders start crashing into the army below. And there's that Plague Claw. There's that Hell Pit Abomination, trying to do our best to focus it down with whatever rangers we have to spare that aren't focusing other big old units down. Blasting charges and throwing axes being chucked at that enemy Plague Priest as well. Doom Wheels are moving closer. Fortunately, we do essentially have 2 melee lines, one behind the other, the sort of hardier melee units in the front, and then the miners behind them. Ooh, and it looks like that Plague... I keep calling it a Plague Pit Abomination. Hell Pit Abomination has broken through and is now amongst our line of Quarrelers with great weapons. They'll still be able to deal damage to it, but that is a unit that is not firing. Another Pestilent Breath comes in through our lines. And we're still trying to knock out that darn Plague Priest, which is only down to about 55%. And another Doom Wheel makes its way through, which means another unit of Rangers with great weapons is unable to fire. Alright, that's not looking so good for this army. Granted, we don't care what happens to it, and it looks like the Dwarf Warriors and the Miners of Blasting Charges are broken. Ooh, and it looks like the High Lord is down to very, very low leadership. Fortunately, we're actually very, very far from the edge of the map, so as long as the enemy doesn't keep chasing down units that break, they should eventually come back. Alright, finally, I do believe the Hellpit Abomination has gone down, but there are still lots of enemy units to focus. That Plague Priest's still working, and so are those Doom Wheels as well. And it's not even the damage that they're doing that's annoying so much as the disruption they're doing to our lines that's working well for them. Finally, however, it looks like we managed to bring down those Plague Claw Catapults, but not after they deal 14,000 damage. Pretty darn solid. Good job to the gyrocopters, but it did take them a full 6 minutes to knock out the 2 artillery pieces, so it did take a while. Yet another Pestilent Birth and another one, and there's the Warp Bomb coming in as well. And dealing some fairly decent damage both to our units. We've got a heavily damaged Dwarf Warrior and a Shattered Miner unit, as well as damage to their own. Finally, that Plague Priest that we've been focusing is brought down, though it took quite a bit of effort. Plague Monks are of course still in the fight, but having seen their Plague Priest go down, they probably aren't as happy as they once were. Censer Bearers are of course making quick work of every unit of regular sort of Dwarf Warriors and Miners, as that's a pretty darn solid matchup for the Censer Bearers in particular, but we do have one Hammerer unit in the midst of the fray as well. That said, the Hammerer unit is a little bit busy trying to chase down those Doom Wheels, but at last it looks like we managed to bring the last one down. The last one down. 55 HP, there it goes. Alrighty. And it looks like with the fall of the Doom Wheel, with the defeat of the enemy Lord, only the Plague Monks and Censer Bear, well I guess they're all Plague Monks, only the Unbreakable Plague Monks remain. Just gonna have to mob them, whether it be with the Blasting Charge or with the rest of our units. And we did manage to pull it off, though admittedly a fairly close one. I don't think we've had so many units break in a battle as yet. Granted, we didn't build this army, so that's hardly surprising, and it's not buffed up by the red line, but I 1, 2, 3, 4 here broken, a bunch others severely damaged, and I think another one broke in this direction as well. And it looks like these Censer Bearers will deliver a couple final hits, bring down a couple more Miners as they do, but the Miners are there mostly to distract them. The last of that, we got one left, and down goes the last Plague Priest, and with that, the battle is ours. Nice. I do like when we can get pretty much immediate use out of a confederated army, as we can consolidate the territory before sort of evolving these into proper armies, and then sending them out, towards the Scaven. Well, actually, there's Scaven in many directions, so yeah. Also, what is that? Is that a broken texture, or is that some kind of... I think it's a broken texture. Okay, I thought it was some kind of weird, freaky, giant obelisk thing, but no, it seems to be something messed up about the textures. Alright, really fun fight. Alright, a really fun fight. Was a close thing, especially with our backline being overrun by the enemy Doom Wheels, the Hellpit Abomination, and the enemy Warlord, all charging right through our very minimal melee line here, but it was a really nice one. Our gyrocopters did manage to slowly, very, very slowly, but surely obliterate the enemy artillery, but the Plague Claw catapults were able to dish out 14,000 damage, and that's quite a bit, before they were able to, before they were destroyed, and frankly, they might have dished out more damage than anybody else, which, you know, fair enough for artillery, but, well, at least we had that one gyrocopter to act as a anti-artillery army. Execute and loot, I guess? Alright, looks like Einar Sigdanson will attack, but the secondary army is not following suit, and now I'm regretting not building those Norgrimlings Ironbreakers. Still, this is an opportunity for a small last stand fight, and I've said it before, I do really enjoy those. No way these guys will be able to win it, because the sheer amount of Trolls and Dragon Ogres will mean that the enemy will just be able to run through our lines. Still, I think it'll be a cool little last stand fight, so I think we'll still fight it. I don't think, actually, sometimes, no, we've had battles like that island battle that crashed, so we'll still quick save it. Just better get into the habit of doing it all for every single battle for the rest of this campaign. Anyway, let's do this little last stand, go. Alright, here we go. This is probably a bit of a waste of time, but as you guys know, I do like the little tiny last stand battles where our units are pretty much guaranteed to die, so I think we got to still watch it. We have no chance of winning this because the enemy army is composed of a full half a stack of monstrous infantry units, and this army is just not, I mean, it's not really an army, but a little garbage garrison isn't really meant to, or doesn't have the units in order to deal with them. 73 melee attack and those Dragon Ogres, 60 armor, pretty darn solid. Well, you know what, one asterisk, there is a way we could win this if we cheese it, but as you guys know, again, I don't like to cheese the battle. The way that we would cheese it, just for those who would like to do that, in such situations as this, we do have 2 gyrocopters with brimstone guns, and they would most likely still be able to win the battle by and large for us. What we would have to do, though, is hide all of our units in various woods all over the map, most likely splitting the army in maybe 2. And just hiding as far away from the enemy army as possible. If the enemy isn't able to see our army, what it would do is it would spread most of its units out while they head towards the hidden units. Might even be better to hide at least one of the units separate from the rest of the forces, and that time would allow the gyrocopters to probably do quite a bit of damage, kill the enemy hell cannon as they're doing now, but also hunt down that enemy chariot chaos lord, the mount cores, and then start dishing out damage and killing off things like dragon ogres before the enemy army reached us. That's the way I would do it if I wanted to cheese the battle, and of course it would also involve standing near the edges of the map while hiding as well in the best places. But the last stand is going to be more fun. The AI earned a sort of this victory by taking its opportunity to attack us in a relatively undefended territory. Dragon Ogres charge in, it's always fun to watch them work. I'm going to get those big mauls crashing down in the midst of our armies. The Chaos Spawn moving in to help as well. And yeah, Dwarf Warriors and Miners are not going to hold against the Chaos Spawn Trolls and 10 Chaos Spawn Trolls and Dragon Ogres, especially since these guys are rank 8. Fortunately, Grumbrindle will take revenge. Alright, it looks like they're pretty much overrunning the sort of right flank here. Gonna pop off a Rune of Wrath and Ruin to try to do a little bit of damage, but it's pretty much not going to do anything. Obviously still getting a few shots off with our brimstone guns. Maybe what I should have done is I should have just used them to assassinate the enemy lord so that we could have a target. But anyway, with that I do believe our army is pretty much done for. We can see units with 80% HP. This unit is almost completely full in terms of HP. They're all just breaking. There is not enough leadership as the enemy moves towards us, and then everything here has fear and terror. So the army will break long before they fight to the last. I think there's a little bit of a disconnect for me personally in terms of seeing AI dwarfs fight basically to the last unit because of all their leadership buffs, and then your own units kind of refusing to do so because they'll just break at the drop of a hat without the same kind of buffs that the AI has. Granted, it only happens in situations like this where we don't have a proper army, but it still feels a little bit bizarre. We've certainly fought in enemy settlements where they had like one unit left on the map and then just like refused to break. Anyway, nice little last stand for these guys. I mostly just wanted to see the charge of the Chaos Infantry and a little bit of a preview, I think, for the Tzeentch campaign. Alright, that went pretty much exactly as expected. Just too much monstrous infantry, and I was hoping to watch our units fight, but they all sort of just shattered at 60-70% of their HP just because there's too much terror on the field from all of those monstrous infantry and the charges and whatnot, and we don't have enough leadership bonuses here to have our troops fight to the end like in a proper army. Either way, we were always going to give up this territory, so we'll just give it up. Alrighty, Undercity discovered Karaz-a-Karak. How dare they? Wait. Undercity, I don't see an Undercity. Game. What are you doing, man? Alrighty, hopefully it's not bugged. Do we have the Scaven growth rate? What's with this? -3? Huh. Weird. Okay, I don't know what the heck's going on over there, but anyway, enemy killed in battle, Skag Ironbrow. That's from the Steel Fist Reavers, which took this particular location and raised it, in fact, which is a little bit annoying, but that's alright. Grimbrindle's on the way. Since we're not yet directly in a conflict with the Clan Molder, then we'll be fine. Otherwise, enemy killed in battle, faction destroyed, Clan Moors, which means, okay, wait, who's Jarthor Redbeard? A moment, you are one of Grimbrindle's guys. I think that you can actually, do we keep you on the chopper? We could still have you hover overhead, even if this guy was airman and this guy was not. I'll think about it, either way, just sit there. Oh! Bolstered marksmanship. Wait, do these guys always have bolstered marksmanship, or is it only when they're on the gyro cabinet? I'll check it later. Ally begins post-construction, Confederation, Bloody Hands, and Skullcrag. Oh, that's kind of annoying. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. We were besieging Kradtommen, and we... By virtue of the Confederation, it stopped our besiegement. Oh, that is so frickin' rude, game. Oh, how dare you. Karun destroyed. Wait, is Karun destroyed? Broken Axe and Bloodfeather Confederate. Oh, wow, all the orcs are consolidating. Ah, that's interesting. Ambusher discovered, ally mission successful, settlement raised, creator, constructor. Upkeep production in our own territory, up to 187,000 gold per turn. Now, not bad. And there we go. That's what I was looking for. Karak 8 Peaks Grudge at last completed. +2 Grudge settler unit capacity per army, and 2.5k settled grudges, which, admittedly, at this point in time, really doesn't feel like much, considering we need 85,000. Well, it is what it is. Still, it's our first legendary grudge completed, and I'm pretty darn happy about that. And on that great note, hello, Hammer of Karak-Draj. That's nice. I like it. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, on that happy note, unfortunately, we are going to have to call this episode here. I don't know how long this one has been going on because of all the crashes and all that, but this seems like a new turn, and this is a time when I can take between the episodes to find those darn deeps and build that, upgrade that magma cavern so it doesn't cause us more damage to our stuff, if that made any sense. Anyway, calling it here. Next time, we will probably take care of all of this situation. Decent likelihood that these guys also attack Oakenhammer, but it is what it is. Move Grumbrindle north to take back the territory we just lost. Destroy Sarthoriel. We did just destroy Queek, but we will now destroy or take over Nagashazar before moving out here. Guests declare war on the Bloody Hands, since we can't have them occupying this territory, which will probably mean a war against the major Orky faction. Ooh, and it looks like these guys have moved on in, so Bellagar is going to have himself a nice fight to start the episode off as we move afterwards towards Iron Rock and Aldium and all of these territories. You gotta sort of secure the lowlands that are near to Karaz-a-Karak at least, and then obviously the highlands that are above it as well. Or to the north of it, with Ungrim and whatever other armies we have here. Probably going to also start our journey north towards the Silver Pinnacle with King Azrael, and just continue causing havoc wherever we can, righting wrongs and fighting around the world. Anyway, stay tuned for more Dwarfs. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially the threshold for the longer episodes. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.